What's going on, guys? Welcome to today's video. It's been a long time since I have sat in front of the camera and spoke or done anything, so today we're getting back to it. We're going to do a Q&A. The Q&A is coming from the questions that were asked on the last video, which is quite some time ago. And again, if you've got any questions or you enjoy these Q&As, then just leave the questions down below, and that is where I go to get the questions. So yeah, leave some questions down below in the comment section, and then that will allow us to get the next Q&A rolling. No lifting footage is going to be this week. We are deloading this week. I've hit a top double at 290. I've hit a top single at 300 in deadlifts. 290 for a double in squats. Again, if you want to see kind of lifting footage that's updated regularly or daily, then I always put that up on Instagram. Again, just follow at Macqueen2, or the link is down below. And then I've got GB squads this week. I've got GB Great Britain squad session on Sunday, where we're going to be going for some big personal bests. Again, I will be putting that lifting footage on Instagram, but also be putting up here as well. So the first question is, what are your views on high frequency deadlifting 4+ times a week for the single lifter? And what is your favourite squat movement for deadlift assistance? Cheers. Okay, so first and foremost, high frequency deadlifting 4 times a week plus. Well, that's a good question. What is my view on it? Well, I mean, in what context? My view on it completely depends. Are you extremely advanced and you need to deadlift 4 times a week? It depends. Is someone a beginner where they can improve once a week? Is someone a competitive powerlifter where at the intermediate stage where I feel doing a movement like deadlifts twice a week is probably kind of best, because from a skill perspective, by doing the movement a little bit more, it will allow you to have more chances to practice the deadlift, which is a skill in itself. Are you extremely advanced where you need to move to 3 times a week to keep seeing progress? And are you been training for 10-15 years, and deadlifting 4 times a week, you can do so safely and effectively, and your work capacity allows for that, and you need to do that. And by deadlifting 4 times a week over the space of a year, you'd be happy with gaining 10 pounds onto your lift. It all comes down into perspective. What I think you're probably meaning is, just for the average Joe who wants to get better at deadlifts, and I would say no. What's the point? What's the need to deadlift 4 times a week if you can improve doing twice a week? What's the point doing 4? You're probably not going to improve as much as you think you are. You're probably going to run into some injuries. You're probably going to run into a huge loss of motivation. Probably going to burn out, and you're probably not going to enjoy it a whole lot. And my favourite squat assistance for the deadlift, it depends. There probably isn't one. When I look at deadlifts, again, I like to treat deadlift as a skill. I like to treat movements as skills. How do I improve that skill? Well, the best way to improve that skill is to do the skill itself. And if we are going to do a variance from the skill, then that would probably be something like a pause deadlift or a stiff-legged deadlift. Something that is going to be doing the deadlift, like be doing a deadlift, but just a small change in the deadlift. So doing an assistance. So I wouldn't really want to do. I wouldn't look at oh, I'm going to do this squat because this is going to help improve my deadlift. I'm probably going to go, well, let's break down the deadlift. Where can we improve it? And maybe just simply doing the deadlift a little bit more and doing the deadlift more frequently and doing some more volume is probably going to be the best thing to improve the deadlift. Or maybe are we kind of losing some positioning? Is there some positioning problems? Well, then maybe a pause deadlift might come into it. But no, there's not really any specific squat movement that I would use to 100% carry over onto the deadlift. I don't like to think like that. And I don't think so. I think spending time deadlifting or doing a deadlift assistance, again like a pause deadlift, so on. It's probably going to be a little bit more bang for your buck for improving the deadlift itself. Again, you know, realistically speaking, if you squat and your squat improves by 200 pounds over the course of 2 years, you know, those muscles associated with the squat are also going to be associated with the deadlift, and they will probably improve the deadlift just because they are stronger, you know. So next question. If you had, example, 16 weeks until a competition, would you test your max halfway through, or would you accumulate volume over the full period before tapering? That's a good question. No, you know, I wouldn't test halfway through. If we've got a 16-week block, you know, I would probably break it down into a few different training phases. So I would start off probably with some form of an introductory phase, and then would transition into an accumulation phase, and at the end of the accumulation phase would probably follow that with some form of a mini taper and rep test at, you know, maybe 80%, 85%, you know, and then I'd probably transition into, again, another accumulation phase, you know, and probably just try and accumulate volume until probably week 9, and then we'd probably, you know, start transitioning into some form of a peaking phase, you know, where we'd look to peak 6 weeks out, you know, and I probably, depending on the lifter, you know, we might start introducing singles very early, we might not introduce singles at all, but actually testing and working, I don't see the point. You know, testing means we're probably going to have to deload before the test, probably going to have to taper before the test, then probably going to have to deload after the test. It's going to disrupt things. I don't see any benefit, you know. What's the point, you know? I don't see the point, you know. Leave your testing and maxing out for the platform where it matters if you're a competitive athlete. Next question. Some kind of rowing back movement could be a fun test of strengths, like a dumbbell row. No, that's not a question. Drills to fire glutes, struggle to feel them in the deadlift. Again, you know, this is one of these questions where, you know, people are like, oh, well, how do I fire my glutes? My glutes aren't firing, things like that, you know. And I think it's one of these subjects that just, you know, oh, well, this is happening, oh, your glutes aren't firing, you know, oh, your deadlift lockout isn't so strong, oh, your glutes aren't firing, you know, things like that. And I think it's wrong, you know, with regards to feeling your glutes in a movement. You know, I honestly don't really feel anything in the compound movements. You know, if I'm doing a bicep curl, obviously I'm going to feel my bicep. If I'm doing a tricep push down, obviously I'm going to feel my triceps working, you know. But, you know, if I'm squatting, I don't feel my quad contracting, I don't feel my hamstrings working, I don't feel my glutes working, you know, like I would feel in a bicep curl. You know, obviously they're working, and obviously, you know, if I'm doing a set of 12, they're going to start burning. But, you know, trying to think about a specific muscle firing and a multi-joint movement, it doesn't really make very much sense to me. You know, if they truly aren't working a little properly, you know, which again, I think for the vast majority of people is probably not the case, but if they're not, you know, I think maybe a good place to start would maybe looking at your hip flexors. If your hip flexors are overly tonic, they might be slightly neurally inhibiting your glutes a little bit, so, you know, do some hip flexor tests, but, you know, yeah, I would start off with that, but I think that your glutes probably are working properly. If you've got lockout problems, your deadlift, you know, probably send me some videos, but I think probably it's more of a positioning issue than anything else. Next question. Would you ever like to open your own facility or your own gym? I don't know. It's not something I've really thought about. You know, I guess it would be quite cool, but, you know, right now it's not really in the plan. You know, but you never know where I'll be in 10 years. Next question. Do you know my question is, percentage-wise, how many top-level Olympic athletes are using drugs in general and in weightlifting in particular? You know, how long is a piece of string? You know, how am I meant to know? You know, I don't have exact access into how many people are using and how many people aren't. You know, no clue, you know. No clue, and, you know, just don't really care. You know, I think that the Olympics itself has become a bit of a kind of dog and pony show, to be honest. I think it's lost a lot of credibility. And, you know, the Olympics is not something that really interests me very much anymore, and, you know, I just don't really care. Again, I think weightlifting has become a bit of a dog and pony show, and I think it's lost a lot of credibility. You know, it's his best ever Olympian, Ilya Ilyin, or however you say his name, you know, has failed his tests and got all his medals taken off him, and you know, in one of the males classes, 10th place from the London Olympics is now 3rd place, and I just don't really care, if I'm being honest. You know, next question is, hold on, it's loading. Who are your favourite powerlifters? So that's a great question. There's so many. My all-time favourite powerlifter is going to have to be Pete Rubish. You know, I started training on the 5th of September 2011. That was 3 weeks after I had my left knee reconstructed. I had a full ACL reconstruction. And you know, there was some other stuff going on there, you know, but I had an ACL reconstruction, and I remember I started going to the gym, and I was kind of on YouTube, and I was quite interested. I came across Pete Rubish in his garage, or in his basement. Again, one of the reasons why I wanted to get a garage gym, you know, and I was just pretty much in awe of him, and I was really interested in him. And he kind of started. He was the reason I wanted to start doing powerlifting, and he was the reason that really kind of got me into powerlifting. You know, which is pretty awesome to kind of think that, you know, he was one of the reasons I got into powerlifting. And you know, now look later, you know, 2 Scottish Championships later, 2 British gold medals later, you know, a European silver medal overall, you know, standing on the podium at the World Championships, you know. It's pretty cool to see how far I've came from, you know, just really being fascinated with Pete Rubish. And you know, there's some others. You know, I really like Lane Norton. You know, really like Ben Rice. You know, like people like Bryce Lewis, Garrett Blevins. You know, are really cool people. You know, and then there's like people that I think that are awesome to watch, like Jesse Norris, John Hack, Brett Gibbs. I really did like Josh Hancock. I know he doesn't really like powerlifting very much now. I don't really watch him anymore. You know, I'm not really interested in watching people show me what watch collection they have. You know, but I did really like him when he competed. You know, when he went to his first World Championships. You know, watching his training videos then was really cool. But you know, again, he just fell out of love with it, which is fair enough. You know, you've got to respect that, and he was honest about it and open about it. And, you know, I respect that. You know, I really do. And then of course, you know, yeah, there's just so many people. You know, like Kurt Karwoski's cool to watch back in the day. Eddie Cohen. You know, there's just so many. But my absolute favourite has got to be Pete Rubish. And you know, that is where the classic "kill it" saying for me came from. You know, I saw him saying it, so you know, I thought when I was younger it'd be cool, and "kill it" has just stuck. So yeah, so thanks so much for watching, guys. If you've got any questions, please leave them down below for the next Q&A. I plan on doing these probably bi-weekly. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll speak to you in the next video.